And the third person hearing this message, and hopefully it's you, is you'll hear this message and the seed will be planted in the fertile soil and you'll get plenty of sunlight. Well, thank you for checking the channel out today. My name is Charles. This is brought to you by Frames Told, a marketing agency in Minnesota. I'm going to call this the Fireside Chat, kind of first one, just to get some ideas out there. If you're 40 years or older, here are my thesis, my thoughts on why you need to be posting on social media. The thesis is that the world is changing and that everything that you may have been taught or thought you knew is going to be different for your kids and for your grandkids. I believe that in the next 10 years, nope, let me take a step back. If you look at the data and the trends so far for more and more businesses, more and more active users, more and more channels, more and more transactions being taken place on the internet, in particular around social media, you're seeing the trends are just going in a hockey stick, whichever way you're looking at it, direction. And it just seems like more and more people are getting online, more and more people are posting something and doing things online. And if you ever seen the movie Ready Player One, which I'm a huge fan of, I truly believe that that movie is almost prophetic. I think that there's a lot of similarities. Another one might be, I think it's called Free Guy. Double check here. Yeah, Free Guy with Ryan Reynolds. It's kind of got this metaverse, augmented reality type feel. There's a lot of other movies that kind of come to mind, but I do believe that more and more people will have just a normal presence online, whether it's your personal brand or your company brand or whatever. I'm such a believer that you're going to have something online. It's almost like the adoption curve for the smartphone of if you have a dumb phone or a home phone and you don't use the email and you don't use the internet nowadays, there's some people out there like that, but they are very few and far between. And those folks, I don't think, have nearly as much of a connection when it comes to online or being connected to friends and family or the news or goings-on or tech or whatever the case might be. So you may have some people that'll say, nope, I will never post online. I'll never be part of that system. But if you look at some trends for the kids these days, they no longer want to be celebrities in movies, but they want to be famous YouTubers like Dude Perfect, as an example. First one that comes to mind anyway, or Mr. Beast, I guess. So if there's a huge generation of folks that want to be online more often and have those connections and want to have a personal brand online and are going to probably be doing more and more business online, you as a 40-year-old or 40-plus-year-old, I believe, need to get ahead of that curve. Meaning that your kid now at the age of whatever, 5, 7, 10, 18, doesn't matter, can start to kind of understand the world of the internet and social media on their own, or you can start to get a better idea of what that landscape looks like and kind of start to pave the way. And I think if you're 40 years or older, you are giving your child so much of a heads up when it comes to that digital landscape or digital presence moving forward, so that they can just kind of come into the business or come into the channel or come into the, again, personal branding and kind of take over things over time. You may disagree with me, and I'd love to hear your comments in the comment section below. But if you look at the data and the trends, and you look at where kind of post 2020, post, the sickness, I'll call it, it's almost like technology has had 10 or 15 year transformation within such a short amount of time. I mean, 5, 6 years ago, working from home was very rare, and now it's almost like a requirement. If you decide to work somewhere, you're like, well, I'm only going to find some place where I get to work from home. And it was such a different thing just a few years ago. So if you got so many people working from home, everybody had to, almost like a flip of a switch, figure out, well, how do you use Zillow? Or, I'm sorry, not Zillow. How do you use Zoom? How do you find a camera? How do you get a webcam? How do you use OBS? How do you get lighting? How do you get this? How do you get this? And there's still people out there who don't have a clue, which is fine. but I think it almost forced so many people onto the internet and onto these social channels that we were going to continue to see this hockey curve effect. There's three types of people who will hear the message today. One of them will hear the message, and just like a seed being dropped onto rocky grounds or to sand, it won't go very far. The crows will come down and eat it, and there's no fertile soil for it to grow anywhere. The next person hearing this message will be like the seed who got planted in fertile soil, but the weeds around it came and twisted it up, and it eventually died and didn't go anywhere. And the third person hearing this message, and hopefully it's you, is you'll hear this message and the seed will be planted in the fertile soil, and you'll get plenty of sunlight, plenty of nutrients from that soil, and you and your brand, your company, your presence, your reach, your influence, your territory, whatever you want to describe it as, will continue to grow and flourish because of the action steps that you took. And again, this is just my thesis here that the future is going to become more digital. I'll add more to this in a second. But I think there's those three types of people out there, and I hope that you're the third one to take this message and say, you know what, I've got to post something. Even if it's dumb, even if it's something, I just got to get the reps and I got to get the practice and I got to learn and figure this out. And I would point you to a lot of the evidence out there, or the supposed evidence out there, of people claiming to be making $5, $10, $20, $100,000 a month by doing nothing. If there's any shred of evidence in those videos and in those people, it's my belief, and it's encouragement to you, that you owe it to yourself and your family to explore it and see if it's true. I think that when you look at where the digital space is going, and then you look at how much money is flowing into the space, you can start to understand how, not to go too far down the rabbit hole, but you can start to see how there's a reason for some sort of a native currency that'll be acting or transacting amongst these different platforms sometime. I'm not here to tell you which one is which and why and all that kind of stuff, but having a digital currency, an internet currency, internet money, I think just makes sense because there's so much that's changing in that space. And I saw a podcast here recently kind of exploring that idea a bit more, that the amount of energy it's going to take to sustain how much power the social media companies will need, in addition to how much power and energy will be needed to sustain these, again, internet currencies or cryptocurrencies. It'll almost force a new energy revolution where the cost of energy will have to drop dramatically in order to sustain the growth that we're going to see online. And according to this podcast and this video I watched, the most sustainable and efficient model that they propose is going to be nuclear energy. And nuclear energy, not knowing much about it, but having some background in playing the game Civilization, it was the most efficient and cheapest form of energy that there is. Another one, Total Annihilation. If you ever played that game, let me know down below. But Civilization, Total Annihilation, is nuclear energy was the way that you had to go at some point. And if more and more countries went that route over the coal and gas and even the kind of clean energy sources like wind and solar, I think that the amount of energy abundance that nuclear power could create, again, I think it would just revolutionize everything and kind of push a new, I wouldn't say industrial revolution, but like an energy revolution, where being online and having these augmented realities and these metaverses and these different spaces, just like in Ready Player One and Free Guy, I think we'll be able to do that because of all this abundancy in energy. So just be respectful of time. Thank you so much for watching all the way so far. I'll kind of cut this off. But again, my 2 cents, if you're 40 and older, you are part of the old guard, the kind of pre-internet days, and some of this may be, just funny to watch, and I can appreciate that. But if you're over 40 and you're watching this, I would strongly encourage you to really dive deep into some of the interesting ideas and theses that are out there of where the internet and digital life and these currencies and energy and everything is going to be in 10 years. And if you're younger than 40, my recommendation is start posting something, start doing something, start learning about it, understanding it, get a job in the industry, start your own personal brand, start figuring out how do you sell something online. You can do so many cool things when you do start posting online that it becomes your own playground or it becomes your own resume. If you are a graphic designer and all you did was posted your own work, at some point someone's going to see that and say, you know what, that's some really good work. You need to come and work for us at Apple or Amazon or Disney or wherever because you were just posting really good content. If you were a phenomenal baseball coach and you just show all of your videos online of how do you coach or baseball or golf swings or whatever the case may be, at some point the more that you post, the algorithm picks it up, the viewers pick it up, and some random elite athlete may see this and say, I got to hire this person to help coach me because their videos are so good. And so I do believe that having that presence and having that space online can propel you dramatically into the next chapter, if you would. And that's part of the reason why I started this channel. But I think more importantly, if you have kids, that you're doing such a service to your kids because in 10 years, I believe just having some space online will become the norm. And I would recommend that you help your kids out a little bit to understand what this whole social media, digital space, blockchain technology, AI even, if they're all going to kind of come together to create this Web3, it is going to be a very exciting and crazy time. And if you're able to help navigate in some way your kids or even your grandkids through this, I think you're really setting them up for success in the future. I would love your 2 cents on this idea, this thesis, comments below. Tell me where you think things are heading. If you made this all the way to the end, also let me know. I appreciate that you're watching. I appreciate everyone who's subscribed and followed and liked and shared and engaged with the channel. It's so fun and so much of a blessing to be able to put some things out there and just have some fun when it comes to editing stuff. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And if nobody does listen to this, this is just me documenting and kind of showing the journey. And hopefully my kids can see this someday and look back and say, wow, you made this video when there's only 1,000 subscribers and now you have, 1 million or something. So thanks so much for listening. And I think I'm going to do more of this because it's a lot of fun. And there's not a lot of editing that needs to take place. So thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.